Welcome, collectors and heavy equipment enthusiasts. Thank you for joining me for yet another brand new edition of Diecast Emporium. In today's video, we're going to be reviewing the John Deere 460E articulated dump truck. It's part of Ertl's Prestige collection in 1:50 scale. Now, this model has been out for a couple of years now, but it's actually quite a nice piece despite it being an Ertl model, with a number of working features and even maybe some features you may not have thought would have been possible in an Ertl piece. So as you can see, the model comes in this style box, and immediately there's something I think that could be improved, and that is the fact that this is all open. So if you store your models in storage or on a shelf, obviously any place at all that could potentially collect dust, this is all open, so dust and dirt is just going to collect in here, so maybe that's something that Ertl can look at in the future, possibly closing this off. Over here, the good adequate use of spacing has been used. You have the John Deere logo here, 460E articulated dump truck, Ertl's Prestige collection down here, and again, this is an adult collector's item, denoted there, with a minimum age of 14. The side flap has a picture of the real 460E at work. Same is true on the back of the box. However, this model does not have the optional tailgate package as this picture shows. Underneath, once again, you have the constructiondiecast.com sticker denoting this is where I purchased my model from. Copyright 2020, an Ertl and John Deere licensed product. Finally, let me draw your attention just for a moment down at the bottom right. Here is a brief overview of Ertl's product line. You can see the different series and their intended ages. So over here you have the top series, the Precision Elite. So this is 14 and up, not suitable for children. This is for the collector enthusiast, highest level of detail with working lights, authentic rear hitches, etc., etc. Then one size down is the Collector's Edition, 1/16 and 1/32 scale. Again, not suitable for children, collector enthusiasts, high level of detail, limited production, commemorative, etc., etc. Then you have this series, the Prestige Collection, which is 1/16 scale, 1/32 scale, 1/50th scale. Once again, 14 and up, not suitable for children. For the collector enthusiasts, high level of detail, authentic rear hitch, will contain several small working parts, etc., etc. Under that, you have the Authentic series, which is 1/64 scale, 14 and up. Not suitable for children, high levels of detail, authentic rear hitch, contains small parts, etc., etc. And finally, their entry-level series entitled Replica Play, 1/16th, 1/32nd, 1/50th, and 1/64 scale. This is suitable for all ages of play, and this is mostly plastic play toys. So there's a brief overview showing you that Ertl has a product for everyone aged 0 to 99. Okay, let's begin the unboxing. Now, unfortunately, this is one of those items where if you have a whole afternoon and you'd rather either stare at grass or deal with 7 pesky twist ties, well, if your choice is the latter, I've got just the model for you. There are 5 twist ties holding this truck to its base, and let me tell you, some of them are wound so incredibly tight in between the axles that you're just going to have a blasty ball. Thankfully, for all of our sanities, I've already had that afternoon of fun, taken all of these out, so you're not going to see any of that on camera. Once you get those done, simply lift the truck straight out of the box. By the way, there's all the holes for the twisty ties. There's no assembly to do because your truck is pre-assembled and you are ready to display it. Okay, beginning the model review with the detail and decals. Let's start at the front. You can see right in the middle of the grille we have the John Deere logo. That's applied with a decal. You can see the lights are applied with some paint, and they're actually indented into the casting. Your tie-down points or tow hitches at the front are not drilled through. They're actually part of the casting. Your mirrors, grab rails, all those are thin and plastic, perhaps though the mirrors are slightly overscaled. Coming along to the left-hand side of the machine, one of the high points of this model, although it's done with decal application, so therefore it's not actually perforated or see-through, the grille looks particularly nice on the left-hand side of the engine housing. The wheel hubs are plastic, and the color match is quite significantly off, but at least there's some bolt detailing inside. Same thing on the rear tires. Your mud flaps are also die-cast in part of the casting, whereas they should be a flexible rubber or flexible plastic. Your Deere 460E, very crisp on the dump box. Your connection rivet for the dump ram, again, that could have done with some John Deere yellow paint, so it isn't so obtrusive and doesn't stand out like a sore thumb. On the cab, John Deere logo at the bottom. Your load indicator lights, again, applied with some paint. Those look okay. You have some mesh on the back of the window, although there's some untidy glue mark residue, which, again, stands out rather horribly, but at least the mesh looks pretty decent. Inside the cab, you have a steering wheel, an operator seat, and some crude controls. You have a single silver exhaust stack, however, there's no hole in it. Across the articulation joint, you can see how the model is put together with your rams and a pin right in the middle. Looking at the back, you can see the die-cast metal dump body. And if you look closely, you can see the springs for the suspension, and we will test that out during the functionality aspect of this model. Again, looking at the rear, you can see the realistic tread pattern on the rubber tires. Right side of the machine, very similar to the left, although there is more perforations done by decals on the engine housings and grille such all throughout. More cab detailing. An access stair has been added here. Again, part of the metal casting, but the very bottom of it is painted black. More wheel detailing, your 460E Deere. And that brings us back around to the front where we started. Okay, for the functionality aspect of this review, because this is a prestige series by Ertl, you can expect some things that maybe you wouldn't normally expect from an Ertl model, up to and including some opening compartments. The top part of the engine does pop open, and that allows us to get a decent look at some mechanical under-the-hood components, seen here, trying to articulate it in the light so that you can get a fairly decent look. Not only does that main hatch open, but both side flaps open as well. There's what that side looks like, and here's what the other side looks like as well. Very similar, both sides. Again, that's satisfying to do because you can see all the different colored mechanical components, and if you have a service truck, you can pose the service truck doing some standard maintenance or some mechanical repairs next to the articulated dump truck. So, this is a rubber-tired machine, so how well does it roll? Quite freely. Again, helped apart by the fact that the truck is mostly die-cast, so the weight does help it roll quite freely. It steers by articulation because, of course, it's an articulated dump truck, and it will hold any angle that you want, and the angle is rather good both directions, so really nothing to complain about there. As we saw when we were going over the details and decal, you saw the springs in the back, so that allows us to show some suspension travel, although again, not a tremendous amount, but something is better than nothing. There is no oscillation on the rear two axles, as there should be, and it kind of is misleading, because if you look at that bolt, it gives you the impression that the rear axles do oscillate, but unfortunately, in fact, they do not. But as I always say when I'm doing a dump truck review, what is the most important aspect of any functionality of a dump truck? You're right, it's the dump height angle. So let's test this one out. Unfortunately, you are restricted to an angle of about there, which again could be improved dramatically. And a skilled collector could probably file these piston jackets down and do some custom modification so that you can get a greater height out of that. Now, if you do have some loose material in the back, such as some sand, ballast, or some heavier rocks, you should have no problem getting all of it out of the back. But again, it would be nice if some of these die-cast manufacturers would engineer the dump height to be more reminiscent of that of the real machine's dump height angle. Before we close out the video, let's see what this machine would look like when it's being loaded by a suitable excavator that this would be working with in the real world. So I've brought out a Diecast Masters Caterpillar Next Gen 330 excavator so that we can show a little mini diorama, a tabletop diorama, if you will. So here you go. and the two look quite good working together. If you are interested in purchasing this 1/50th scale Ertl John Deere 460E articulated dump truck, please visit the link that's in this video's description. It will take you to the listing on constructiondiecast.com where you can buy this model today. As always, I'm Tommy with Diecast Emporium. Thank you all so very much for watching. If you found this video enjoyable and insightful, please give us a like and share it with your friends. And also make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Thank you again for watching. Until next time, take care, be well, and be safe. I'll see you in the next review.